What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Expert Bike Giveaway series. If you're tired of seeing the R1 on camera, well, get used to it because it's not going away anytime soon. Today I thought it'd be fun to make a video talking about some of the weirdness of this bike. Given that I've never owned an R1 before, it's been a lot of fun having it here in the shop and just kind of taking a look at it and learning more about it. And there are some really weird features on this motorcycle, so I'd love to dive in today and show you some of the quirks and features, as Doug DeMuro would say, of this bike. So let's get into it, but before we do, remember we're giving away this Yamaha R1, as I'm sure you guys saw in the last two videos. I'm very, very stoked about this motorcycle. I think it is absolutely gorgeous and a very fantastically fast and cool motorcycle. If you want the chance to win this R1, hit the link down below, go to yamanoob.co or go to yamanoobmerch.com. Every dollar you spend gets you an entry to win this bike. Let's get into it. So as many of you are aware, I don't really do videos like this. We normally have a tripod up and we try to make it a little bit more like a set and all that. But I think it's kind of fun to jump in and, you know, mix it up a little bit and give you guys something different. So let's chat about some of the weirdness of this bike. So the very first thing that I noticed about this bike that's really weird is it only has one bolt for the gas tank right there. If we go over here and take a look at just about every other bike, over here on the XSR, we've got one bolt and then another bolt over there. Here on the Street Triple, two bolts. And then on our powerful Hayabusa, two bolts. So kind of strange that Yamaha gives you just one bolt right there, but I assume it's because of super cool weight savings and a race bike. The next thing that's super odd about this bike, and I can't believe that it's true, but I looked in the manual, and if someone wants to correct me if I'm wrong, please let me know. But as far as I can tell, it does not have a gas gauge. The only thing that the R1 has is a low fuel light that comes on somewhere over there whenever you only have like half a gallon left of fuel. So you don't get a gas gauge on this motorcycle, which to me is just, I cannot understand that at all, that they wouldn't put a gas gauge on here, but I guess they're just like, you don't need to worry about gas when you're going this fast, you just need to worry about when you need to go buy some more of it, so don't you worry your pretty little head about it. The other thing about this bike that might not come across on video is just how small it is. The R1 is a very petite motorcycle, and I will now demonstrate by putting it between my race bike and the Hayabusa. So jumped over here on a ladder to show you guys. As you can see, the R1 is really not that much bigger than the Daytona. The Daytona is definitely smaller, especially around the midsection right here, but for having 998 cc's, this bike is very small, and then you can see it compared to the Hayabusa. It's just, there is no comparison between the sizes here. I think on camera right now, it doesn't really look like it's much bigger, but you have, I wish I could sit down each and every one of you between these two bikes so you could just see the difference. The R1 is very, very tiny. Even in shuffling the R1 around the shop, it doesn't feel that much more heavy than any other normal super sport or super bike. Comparing when I'm shuffling around my 675R, this thing maybe feels like it weighs only like 30 or 40 pounds more. It's very maneuverable, very lightweight to kind of chuck around the shop and just move around. So it's much, much smaller than you think. So the other thing that's really crazy about this bike is just the level of features and adjustability that you have once you flip on that TFT, which is also a little bit smaller than you would expect. It's not that big, and it's kind of hard to read sometimes. I have it set up in track mode right now so I could actually see the gear position indicator. I don't need a lap timer, so I'm still fiddling with it, but from the factory you get 4 different Yamaha modes found over here on the bottom left: A, B, C, and D. A being your go fast track boy mode, B being a little bit softer, C being road use, and then D being wet. And you can quickly cycle through them by just flipping the switch over here. So it goes D, C, B, and A over here, and your power, traction, and stability controls, or slide control rather, change as you do that. But the real crazy part is when you hold the menu button over here and you enter the world of the YRC settings. So you can actually go through here and adjust each one of those modes to your liking, which is insane. absolutely crazy that you can do this on this motorcycle. You can literally set each mode to be whatever you want. So if you wanted, for example, the most power, but then the least amount of slide control because you're a sociopath and you want to just scoot your R1 around on the street or something like that, you could totally do that, and you'd have that set up as a preset in here. So you can dial in the level of power, traction control, slide control, lift control. You can dial in the quick shifter, the up and down feature. You can turn quick shifter down, off if you wanted to, and you can even modify the level of wheelie control that you have. So lots of adjustability on this bike. It's kind of insane. Speaking of something else that's kind of insane, the clutch lever on the R1 is exactly the same as the clutch lever on every other Yamaha bike. It's nothing special. So is the turn indicator right there, the little switch, as I will demonstrate right now. Walk over to our XSR 700, and if you look over here, this clutch lever is exactly the same, and so are these turn indicators. So Yamaha had to cut costs somewhere, I suppose. One cool thing that I found out about this bike as I was doing more research on it is the stock header system. This stock header system is so good that apparently many aftermarket companies don't even bother giving you a header back system. It's just most of them utilize the stock header and then just give you a slip-on or some sort of cat delete or some kind of mid-pipe back out to the rear. Most of them reuse these stock headers, and I can see why. They look like they have very little bends in them. They look like they're of high quality, and for a machine that's producing 200 horsepower, they probably are. So the brakes on the R1 are very, very good. They feature a combined front and rear braking system. You get this really nice Nissan master cylinder up here. You get braided lines from the factory, as you can tell right in here. See those? But then down here, even though these are much larger than your Yamaha XSR MT bike brakes, these are still just like your regular off-the-shelf brakes. The rotors are huge and the pistons are huge. You can see that, but it's a bit of a shame they don't give you a caliper that actually looks nice. It's a $17,000 motorcycle. I wish they would give you nice Nissan calipers. That would look good. One thing that I saw a lot of online is people were wondering if this fender cutout is stock, and it is. This is how the bike is shipped from the factory, as this bike is brand new when we picked it up. This is to allow you to put on case sliders super easily, frame sliders super easily. Everything on this motorcycle is basically built with racing and track days in mind, and so anything that you want to think of to do it with that, it's probably going to be set up to do it correctly. Yamaha does give you the integrated turn signals right in here, which is really, really nice. None of those floppy indicators on this bike. That would be a bit of a shame if they gave you floppy indicators on the big bad R1. This bike also has what is possibly the smallest pillion passenger seat I've ever seen in my life. The passenger here is such an afterthought on this motorcycle. It's just letting you know, hey, you're not going to put anybody on the back of this thing. Just chop off the tail, put a cowl, and call it a day, because no one else is going to ride with you. Another really cool feature is that the R1 logo is stamped right onto the swing arm. You see this on the Street Triple, on other really high-end motorcycles, and I think it's such a nice little touch to stamp the logo of the bike on the swing arm. The R1 features nice knurled pegs right here from the factory. This is a great touch because for something like this, with this bike with this amount of power and its racing pedigree, you want a lot of grip. Let me show you as an example. On more pedestrian motorcycles such as the XSR, you get rubber grips right here. You can also see them here on the KTM. You get rubber grips. And then even on something as insane as the Hayabusa, rubber grips. So it's nice that the Yamaha R1 features those knurled pegs. The R1 actually features a ride-by-wire system, but it's not 100% ride-by-wire like the S1000RR that features no physical connection to the throttle bodies. If you twist this and listen, there's still a cable in there, but everything else is controlled electronically, so it's a bit of a hybrid system, and it's not full ride-by-wire, but it's still just as wonky as all the other Yamaha throttle for their sport bikes. Don't know why they're like that. And finally, one of the last weirdness about the R1 is that the brakes are actually combined front and rear. Whenever you activate the front brakes, the rear brakes also activate, but I'm sure there's probably a way to disable that or set it up differently on the bike because it's so advanced, it can just do everything. So guys, those are some weird things about the Yamaha R1 that I've kind of noticed so far in my short time of owning it. I've only owned it for a couple days now. and I'm still getting to know it and getting familiar with it and trying to learn as much as I can. The electronics are just, it's like figuring out a new computer or an iPhone or a smartphone or something. It's completely foreign to me to have that amount of adjustability and features. I kind of think that I'm just gonna end up setting like a Yamanoob setting and just running that all the time. I can't imagine changing it up too much. But I hope you guys enjoyed this look, this kind of informal vlog on the R1. I'm just really excited to make content around this motorcycle because I think it's very, very exciting. If you want the chance to win this bike, remember guys, click the link down below, go to yamanoob.co or go to the merch page and pick out something that you want. Every dollar you spend gets you an entry to win. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.